folks, Dr. Mike Israetel here for Renaissance Periodization. Healthy eating made simple, video number 3. Hopefully you've watched the first 2. That would really help if you did. They're super short. This one is on counting macros. So the situation so far is this. From the first 2 videos, you already know to do a couple of things. First, the most important, is you know how to choose healthy foods. And second of all, you know how to make balanced, protein-based, healthy meals. Now, this is going to take you really far, and these are the only 2 things that you could implement. If you know how to choose healthy foods and make healthy basic meals out of them, you're good to go. You could easily just stop here and way improve your health. But if you want a little bit further health improvement, we could alter things just another step. And each one of these videos is like this. So let's go on this journey together. Here's the deal. How much you're eating and knowing how much you're eating without even altering it at first is potentially a really big benefit. It can allow you to do a couple of really important things. First, it can let you plan your meals out more precisely with less guesswork and, honestly, to be completely honest with you guys, less anxiety. Like, how much roast beef do I put on the sandwich? Like, I'm trying to be healthy and I know the amount matters, but like just eating healthy food is great, but I just want to know an amount so I just don't go insane thinking I'm eating too much or eating too little, so on and so forth. Knowing how much you're eating allows you to repeatedly eat the same amount, which is a really good place to start. It also makes sure that you get all your nutrients in for a day, which means you're supporting your health really well. And very lastly, but not leastly, very importantly, it can allow you to raise or lower your body weight at will. It's something we'll learn to do in a little bit later in a couple of videos from now by changing your food intake amounts. But if you don't know how to track and count how much food you're eating properly and accurately, how the heck are you going to know whether to eat more or less, or what more or less even is? A lot of times you talk to people and you're like, hey, if you want to lose weight, you should probably eat a little less food. And because they don't really know how much they eat, they just like, I sort of eat, I don't know. It's really tough for them to figure out what less means. Or when people need to gain weight to become healthier, the opposite problem is the case, right? Now, calorie and portion counting absolutely can work. But the best form of tracking is the one we want to teach you, and that's macro counting, which is counting for every meal and day, just those 2 things, the amount of protein you're eating, carbohydrates you're eating, and fats you're eating. If you add all those 3 and multiply them in a special way, which almost every app does, you get the calories too. These are macros, the macronutrients, proteins, carbs, fats. Counting them is a real good idea. Now, how are you going to count them? You got a couple options. All of them are really good. They have their pluses and minuses. First option is to read food labels you eat and just track it and write it down in your notepad on your phone or something and count it all up yourself manually. I do that a lot, but I'm also kind of a sport physiologist and it's really my realm and there's no mystery for me, and I've been doing it for so long, it's just second nature. It's tedious. You can do one better by looking foods up in databases which collate all the normal foods for you and even branded foods like nutritiondata.self and Nutritionix database. Excellent tools. The Nutritionix ones, we actually source their data for the RP Diet app, which I'll get to in just a sec. You can download MyFitnessPal. Great app. I think it's free and it tracks everything for you. You just type in what foods you eat and it counts all the macros, and it can really let you do macro tracking really seamlessly. It doesn't tell you what to eat, which is a bit of a downside later, but it sure as heck counts up the stuff. Now, number 4 option. This isn't the best option. It is just an option. How awful of a salesman am I of our own product here. The Renaissance Periodization, the RP Diet app is an app that absolutely counts all of your macros for you. The thing is, it does many more things than that. It actually does every single step of these videos, maybe minus supplements and hydration, which is super easy coming up. It pretty much does everything to make you a healthy diet, so it doesn't just count macros. It's not just tracking. It's an awesome choice, but for those people that are a little bit more serious about dieting, more involved, and definitely want results and want them ASAP. But if you're just easing in, MyFitnessPal is totally cool. Just reading labels is totally cool. Whatever gets you in the know. After a few weeks of using whatever methods you choose from that slide before, you should be in the following position. You should be able to tell how many grams of protein, carbs, and fat you eat per day and per meal relatively seamlessly. It's just not going to be that tough. And you're going to be able to compare macros and sort of see the matrix where people on Instagram are talking about macros like, oh, I eat this much per day and this much per meal. And you're going to be like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. And you can reference it to what you think, like what you're eating. You know, oh, they eat more protein than me, or they eat more carbs, and so on and so forth. Now, this step happens without changing your daily intake. All you're doing is learning to count what you're eating. That's so you can get really good at counting macros and understanding how much you're eating and really feeling out what your current intake is really like. You have to know your current intake for when you eventually, potentially make changes to it later. But for now, we're not saying this many macros is good, this many is bad. None of that. It's just counting your macros, learning how it works, and then after a while, you really have a handle on what you're doing. No pressure at all. Maybe later, we'll learn how to manipulate, right? After these few weeks or longer, taking this and integrating it to the stuff you learned in the last videos and hopefully tried to apply, maybe you will in the future, you're eating mostly healthy foods. You're making awesome balanced meals with protein and veggie core, so on and so forth. And you are able to tell approximately how many macros are in each meal, protein, carbs, fats, and each day. And next time, we're going to talk about altering our intake a little bit with what we've learned from macro counting. So macro counting really prepares you because now you know exactly what's going on with your intake. Now you might be able to alter a little bit. Folks, we'll see you next time.